Do you enjoy working with tools? Do you follow written directions better than oral directions? These are examples of questions that we would use to determine what type of learner you are. Now, last time we defined what a visual learner was, but we didn't really talk about their strengths or their weaknesses, which would be critical when building an actual visual presentation. So to start off with, we're going to talk about the strengths of a visual learner. Following that, we'll talk about their weaknesses, what they struggle with, and then we're going to incorporate that into the knowledge that we use to build our visual presentations. Now, to start off with the strengths of a visual learner. A visual learner is far more inclined to see a big picture than their other two counterparts. What that means is that, for an example, when viewing a math problem, you can use multiplication, subtraction, division, and addition all within the same math problem. And a visual learner is all going to view that as solving the math problem. Whereas an audio learner might be able to tell you what steps they actually took to reach the end. Visual learners will not retain what steps they took to get there, but will be able to solve the problem as a whole. This makes them ideal for complex solutions because they're able to make it from point A to point B, even though they might not be able to tell you how they made it there. Now, as well with this, visual learners tend to build their own bridges. What I mean by building their own bridges, they see point A and point B within the problem, and they're going to build their way across. They might not know the step-by-step, so they're going to create their own step-by-step. The key to remember when visual learners build bridges is that once they've built a bridge, it's very hard to convince them to go another way. So building incorrect bridges is going to be extremely detrimental to a visual learner. Now, this leads us into their weaknesses. If they can't visualize it, they can't do it. Which means that without a visual presentation or something to represent what they're supposed to be doing, the visual learner will completely disconnect from what the speaker is presenting. They will not be able to absorb any of the main points. And not only that, when building bridges, they can get so caught up in the big picture that when attempting to do the task, they can build their bridges and build them in a completely wrong direction. We've all seen it online on Facebook, the "can you solve this problem?" And it's a basic order of operations. And we have half the adults out there who can't solve the problem. They've built their own path to get there. And if you've ever tried arguing with one of them, they're very set in that path. And you will not be able to lead them to the right answer. They also tend to convolute simple tasks. What I mean by this is that when a task is so simple that it's just point A, point B with no wiggle room, visual learners tend to want to take an abstract path to find the creative solution, even when it's not necessary. Rather than 3 plus 3 equals 6, they'll split that 3 out and go 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 6. That's why they're better with complex problems, but simple problems is where you're going to experience the visual learner's lack of knowledge. Now, what does this mean for our presentation? This means that we need to make sure that we're using pictures. Pictures will help cement the idea within the visual learner's head of what exactly they're supposed to be doing. Graphs and flowcharts are also going to be your best friend. When using a graph or a flowchart, you give them a visual representation of the step-by-step that they're supposed to be using. This allows them to take that, not just the concept into memory, but the step-by-step as well. The most important thing, however, when doing a visual presentation for a visual learner, go through the steps yourself first. Identify the portions where an incorrect bridge can be built, and make sure to specify. By doing that, you'll be able to connect with your visual learner and build a better visual presentation.